right there, and I'll bring back the sun.
Hold on. Hold on a minute. Whoa. 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 Where are we? Okay. Welcome to the Steve Squared Show, the Total Eclipse version. I unfortunately looked up at the sun and now I can't see a thing. Oh, there we are. I'm sorry. These glasses, boy, I've been wearing, they said I can never be too cautious. And they said, wear the glasses, don't look up at the sun. And I'm thinking, maybe I should wear them for the whole day. Maybe they're not telling me something. So I've been walking around with these all day. I drove with these, which was a little difficult on the Southern State Parkway. But you can never be too careful is my point. I didn't listen, just don't look at the sun. I'm not looking at people. I don't know if I'll go blind by looking at the people at CVS. I'm not anywhere. I've not looked at a single person today. I will look at my squares because I trust you people that I won't go blind. I haven't gone blind looking at you yet. I think these are nice though. I kind of might like to wear these on a regular basis. What do you think? Now, I'm a little nervous because I bought these at a gas station. By the way, welcome to the Steve Squared Show. I'm your host, Funny Man Stevie K. It's the Total Eclipse Day. It's the Steve Squared Total Eclipse Show. So we're eclipsing everything today. We're going to go crazy. I played that little clip, and I can't play it again because who knows if I'll be removed just from that 10-second little YouTube clip. Shh, don't tell anybody I played it. That was a scene from Spies Like Us. Chevy Chase, and he goes, he sees all the people and he goes, if you let us go, I'll bring back the sun. It was a very funny scene, but I can only play a couple of seconds. Who knows? I probably would have been removed from the air now. You know how Facebook is. Getting rid of people like me who are a danger to the planet. But yes, today I was a little, I have to say, disappointed. I was expecting darkness, one of the 7 plagues sent down by, I believe it was Moses, and not the real Moses, not Moses Malone that used to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. And nothing. I mean, I understood it wasn't going to be this whole fanfare like if you were watching on television when they were showing it first in Mexico and people were cheering. I don't know why. I guess they were cheering in Spanish. We cheered in English. But cheering is all one universal language anyway, as the sun is. I'm going to do an experiment to explain what occurred. What was this phenomena, this astronomical phenomena that we witnessed called a total eclipse? By the way, Bonnie Taylor did pretty well today. It was reported, I think on Spotify, she made like $1.7 trillion because of her downloaded song, Total Eclipse of the Heart, and good for her. She should make every dime of that because it's a great song. She's a great singer, and I'm glad for her to cash in finally. It only took her a celestial event in 2024 for a song she had done in 1984. But good for her. See, the stick-to-itiveness of people. If you stick to something long enough, it will cash in. I live my whole life by that principle, that if I stick to things long enough, something good will happen. Or, what is the alternative? We don't want to talk about it. It didn't get dark. It got a little gray. I love on CNN. I watch some CNN coverage. I love on the news coverage how they want to make everything. They don't want to say, well, we're covering this. We need to make it big, right? and it's like watching air. It's amazing. They have the high energy hosts, and they're like talking to that middle America, because that's where this thing went through. And it's always dangerous when you put middle America with dark glasses, a giant sun, and a microphone. That's never a recipe for success. And these people, they had people in Arkansas getting married, sacrificing people, throwing them in pits of fire. I mean, I thought we came a lot. I thought we were more forward-thinking people. I thought we're in 2024. This is not 1224. Do you know the first eclipse, or one of the earlier eclipses that they have on record, in the Chinese culture, actually attributed the eclipse of the sun to a dragon eating the sun, which would explain a lot. And I think I'm sticking with that explanation until I'm proven otherwise. I'm going with the dragon and the sun, which is where you get the whole dragon sun thing. But very interesting. I mean, I took astronomy in college. Okay. I took astronomy in college. I'm very fascinated by all things celestial, and I remember doing experiments and things like that, and I really enjoyed it. I could have been an astronaut if I wasn't afraid of the dark. But on a more serious note, I got these glasses, which I'm sure are not authenticated, by a local gas station, if you will, but it says Eclipse on them, so they have to be the real deal. And but it has the little authenticated. It has to say ISO on it with a number, and it does. And I asked the guy. He said, will I go blind if I wear these and look at the sun on Monday? I asked him the other day, and he said, I don't know. So that was good enough for me. I went based on that. And then I said, let me get 20 on pump 5. But I'll tell you, I'm calling out that gas station for not only handing out suspect glasses, but I went for a bike ride yesterday morning. Beautiful. Was it Sunday? Yeah. Sunday morning I went for a bike ride. So it was a nice day. I had to put some air in my tires. I go to said gas station, and I go to the air outside, the little air pump, and of course it's a coin-operated charge $1.50 for air. I mean, we're in this moment of why don't you just charge me for sunlight? Why don't we just do that? Charge me every time I get warmed by the sun. When I get wet by the ocean, charge me a fee. Charge me for all things nature, right? Because the gas station owns all of nature, including the air, that they must charge me $1.50 for, and you only get 60 seconds. My hand is shaking. I'm trying to put the nozzle on the hose of the bike pump, which is very small, mind you. And I'm shaking because I know I only have a limited amount of time of air. And, so I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm able to do it, but I can't believe that they're still charging for air. I mean, if you go to most gas stations, it says, they have the little thing, and it says free air. Air is free. What is left that is free but not air? I don't want to be charged for air. I mean, aren't we charged for enough? We're overpaying for gas, we're overpaying for this, we're overpaying for that, and I have to be charged, but I get the air. And but that is one of my, I was talking to my mom about this, and she said, what happened to that, your gripe section, right? And this is unacceptable segment of the show. And I said, that's another gripe I have, because those blurps that I used to play, that app is no longer in existence and was removed from my phone. So I can't even do that. They're making it very hard to exist in nature. But anyway, I have another problem I have to share with you at the beginning. Let me get this out of the way. It's very upsetting. Boy, I don't know if I could do this. This is Kermit. Kermit is down to no leaves. The last leaf fell off. I actually have it here. It's in my hand. Kermit is, I watered it. I don't know what to do. This plant lasted a few years. Maybe it's time for a new plan for the Steve Squared Show, and or maybe I'll plant Kermit outside. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe I could do something like that and get a new plan for the show. Maybe I'll do something like that. But I still brought Kermit along. I saw the coolest Kermit at my sister's library, the Bar Harbor Library. It's this giant Kermit. It was so cool. Go check it out at the Massapequa Bar Harbor, not the Central. Don't go to the Central Avenue one unless you're looking for a different type of experience, let's say. Go to the Bar Harbor one, and you go to the children's room, and it's beautiful Kermit. It's wonderful. I'm all things Kermit, you know that, and Charlie Brown, Snoopy. Those are my things. So anyway, what kind of did you guys get a moment to look up and to look at the eclipse? Was it everything, anything? I know they said we wouldn't get full totality like some of these other places, but we didn't. I didn't feel or see really anything. I did put the glasses on. I did look up for a second, and it actually bothered my eyes, even to look up for a second. And I don't know what I was looking at. I saw a little bit of glow. I don't know. I just said, you know what? Before I go blind by the gas station given glasses, let me just call it a day. And I watched. It was more impressive to watch it on TV and see it from these other places. And boy, I've learned one thing from this unbelievable, just heavenly experience from the celestial bodies. Nobody works on a Monday. That's what I've learned. Nobody has jobs. If you want to take a look at the state of unemployment or joblessness, just take a look at the news today and all of the people that were able to get off on a Monday and sit for hours and look up like this. That's how they should get their employment numbers. Forget about analytics. I don't want to hear numbers or percentages. No. Take a montage from Mexico. Well, let's count in here, okay? Texas, Arkansas, all the way up to Indianapolis through New York, Vermont, and Maine, which was the pathway of this totality. Please. There's a lot. Indeed, ZipRecruiter, you guys better get on the ball. Because there's a lot of people that need jobs. If you're able to take a Monday off and stare at the sky. I'm just saying. Nobody? Nowhere to be? No job? Okay. I need a sip of our proud non-sponsor Celsius. But the people were so emotionally amazed, and the announcers, of course that's their job. They're like, they're crying, and this is what I was most impressed by. That they were able to interview some of the animals and get their experience or take on the eclipse. Because they must have, since they knew that the animals would be confused. They said animals might experience confusion. Now, I don't know if they were referring to Long Islanders or Americans as animals, or actual animals. I believe it was actual animals that they were referring to. And they were saying, the one reporter was from a zoo. I won't get that. That's actually that's probably the animals from the zoo. There was in the Dallas Zoo. They were watching as the eclipse happened. Zebras and ostriches and birds, and wanting to see gorillas. It was amazing. It actually was an accurate fact. Gorillas were getting in cars and driving away. They showed an elephant on a skateboard. It was unbelievable. These animals were so confused. They didn't know what to do. Birds and dogs living together. It was complete chaos and anarchy. Nobody knew they were confused. Dogs didn't know how to fetch, sit, they stood. I saw a couple of dogs in front of me at the Starbucks getting a cup of coffee. Steve served some. He told me as a barista. Nobody knew what to do. It was complete confusion, which, by the way, it doesn't take a lot to confuse us as a people. Let me say. The moon passes in front of the sun for maybe 11 seconds, and there's complete confusion among us. It doesn't take a whole lot, I'll tell you that. You could change cable boxes and we're confused. You can put ESPN on 35 instead of 36, nobody knows where the hell the channel is. We are a very confused people who doesn't have jobs on Monday. That's all I have to say to that. But Long Islanders, as we often know, I thought this was a nice moment. They talked to a Long Islander and they actually realized that the sun does other things besides give you a tan. Yes, it does, Long Islanders. I know you enjoy it in the summer from June to August to get that nice golden brown tan and post on Instagram. And I didn't mean it to rhyme, it just ended up like that. But yes, the sun provides us energy. It depicts it how it has as the weather works. It balances the flow of the fresh currents and salt water balance, which is how the waves and everything balances. It's all there. Just Google it. I know that's a headache. Just go tanning. Just lay under that hot ball of fire and turn colors and show your friends when you go out on Long Island nights in June. It's coming. You'll be laying under that ball of sun. So if they tell you, and here's a warning I want you to heed from the Steve Squared Show, and I am not, and nor do I pretend to be, an astrophysicist. I am not a NASA space scientist. I am just the podcast host, a comedian, a gauffant, if you will. But I will say this. If they are saying do not look at the sun without these special glasses on this particular day, when the moon goes in front, do you think it's a good idea to lay under it for 11 hours on a Sunday afternoon in August? I'm just saying, do the math. Probably not. Probably not. I know we want to have that beautiful glow. I get it. But I'm just saying, maybe it's not, the go-to move. But enjoy. Enjoy the summer. Don't worry about later on. Later on will happen when later on happens. Right now, lay under that ball of sun, vape your brains out, and enjoy. And pay for air. I'm so aggravated today. I can't even tell you. I felt it get a little cooler. I know the temperature was going to drop, but I'm sorry. I was a little disappointed. But let me do a little experiment. I'd like to do a little experiment. I brought a few things here to try to show you how and what happened. Okay, because I have a little background in astronomy, very little. I used to have a telescope. I used to like to look up and see the moon and see these things. And so bear with me. I'm going to do a rudimentary experiment. The Steve Squared Show doesn't like to just entertain. It likes to teach. So as I come from a family of teachers, librarians, astute scholars, let me try something here. So, all right. I'm going to get my objects and get it all together. And watch how I tie everything together. You see I have basketballs here. If you notice, one of these basketballs is the Final Four, which is tonight, March Madness, right? March Madness in April. Everything's out of whack. It's just completely out of whack. But anyway, tonight is the championship game. Two teams which I could care less about. The Purdue Boilermakers from the great state of Purdue. I don't know where that is. And they will be playing another team that I cannot stand, UConn, University of Connecticut, who won last year. And they're one of those, they're like just a team that gets under your skin. They always win. They just, I don't like their coach. There's a lot to not like about them. But I'm not a big Purdue fan because I don't even know where they're from. I know they're somewhere, Indiana, Illinois, somewhere in the middle. as it were. So I'll watch it. Not a big fan. Okay. So anyway, I'm using the ball to represent the moon. Let's use this as the moon. This will be the moon. Now I have another basketball, and this will be the earth. It's blue, a lot of water covering, right? So we have the moon, actually the earth and the moon. So let's do this. Let's flip them around. And of course, we need a sun. Why not the orange for vitamin C, which the sun provides us? So, and is my favorite fruit, by the way. So here we go. So if you're looking here, and I'll try to do this as best as I can, if you see the middle, or the little basketball, which is the moon, has passed into the orbit between the sun, said orange, and the earth, big basketball. So the alignment is like this, casting an enormous shadow on the earth. And if you see here, there's Long Island right there. And I can see the Snooki shop in Huntington by Kim Kardashian. No, the Snook shop from, you know what she's from, Jersey Shore, of course. So this is really what's going on here. And if you see here, the proportions are not really accurate because the sun is really the giant thing, bigger than the moon. But what had happened was because of the alignment, everything is so far apart that they all look the same size. So here we go. This is what's happening here. Okay? So don't say I never taught you anything. That was a good science experiment. Now I should have been wearing these when I did that experiment because now I looked into the orange. Now I hope I will be able to see. I looked directly into the orange. Do not ever look directly into the middle of an orange. You will go blind. Anyway, I don't know if I have the facts straight on that. But yes, tonight, yesterday was the women's college champion. Let me not forget them. The Gamecocks of South Carolina beat the Caitlin Clark-led Iowa Hawkeyes. Not handily, beat them by like 12. I didn't get to see the game, and I missed the game. But I'll tell you, I don't watch really much women's basketball, but they were pretty exciting. And obviously, Caitlin Clark is a great player, and was excited. I started watching some of the games, and I was like getting into it a little bit. A lot more than I will be for tonight's game. I can't. I don't know what I could do. I'm just disappointed. I don't really, with these two teams, do you ever have something rub you the wrong way? Like when you're watching this show, it rubs you the wrong way. You want to change it, but you just can't. But don't. I want you to stay for the whole hour. We're hopefully going to get... I tried to ask people to call in, get their opinions on what they saw. Maybe they saw something better. If you did, please reach out to me. You can go to Govs Radio, YouTube, Facebook. You can message me on Stephen R. Kaminsky, Instagram. There's plenty of ways to get in touch with me. You can call me at the house. I think somebody just did. Smoke screens, whatever you want. Any way you want to reach me, I'm here for you. Until 7:30. Then I'm going to go watch the Yankees. But anyway, so, oh yeah, look at this. It's a great headline, right? It looks, on paper, it looks unbelievable. Eclipse. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. There was actually, hold on a second. Let me show you something else. I thought there was something, well, see, this is where the disappointment lies, and I want to show you another picture. Here it is. This is a little disappointing to me. So they show this in the paper on Newsday, lights out, as if we're going to have this complete blackout. I wanted to see this, and they show people looking up. No, we didn't have. It wasn't a complete blackout at all. Very disappointing. Do you know the last they said an eclipse was not that long ago. They happen every so many years or what have you, but just didn't. I don't think many Long Islanders saw much, in my estimation. But the other celestial Mother Nature coming down on us was the shaking and rattling of Long Island and the tri-state area. Did you all feel that? Oh my gosh, I knew right away. I called it right away. I said, that's an earthquake. I remember the one, I think it was 2011. And I was actually, I think, in the same place for that one. And, the shaking of the house, and, I knew it wasn't a plane flying overhead. The first second I was like, is something going by a plane? But then I said, it's a little long, and it felt different. And I said, that was an earthquake. And it was. Right away, you saw people on social media, quake, quake, quake. And, of course, it was, without a doubt, we were shaken. Shaken, not stirred, as the great James Bond would say. A 4.8 magnitude rumbles across Long Island with smaller aftershocks. I didn't feel any of the aftershocks. But, yeah, shaken. And you could see the epicenter was kind of in the Jersey area, and we were just not very far away. A 4.8. The 2011 one was from an epicenter in Virginia. That was at 5.3. But it rattled up the East Coast, and we felt it. I mean, it's really awe-inspiring when you think about it. I'm more impressed by that, I think. It's like the whole ground is shaking, and I know, West Coast people are like, even our friend Steve, our co-host, who had spent many years in California, scoffs at us poor people of the East Coast going, oh my God, a 4.8. They're used to like 10.2s, things smashing, walls collapsing, so for them, they wouldn't even feel it. But, hey, we felt it. I felt it for sure, and it was pretty, I wasn't scared or I wasn't worried, and I didn't run into a doorway or something or think, because, I'm just feeling it, and you're like, all right, and then it ends, and, it's just the ground kind of stretching out. But when you think about having these two really earthly events, you're having an earthquake and then a total eclipse 2 days later, it's frightening that, what little control we have if one day everything just goes off the rails. And it's very scary. So appreciate your earth. Don't litter. If you see something, say, oh no, wait, now I'm doing a message for the MTA, which, by the way, I'm a little annoyed at. I'm always annoyed with the MTA, and let me continue with my gripes. The MTA, the nerve of the MTA, they just come out of nowhere with these things when they need money. Why don't they just raise hikes and be done with it? This is what it's going to be at the end of the day anyway. But they're yelling at the New York Roadrunners. This is who their next target. They're yelling at the New York Roadrunners, calling an elitist group of people that they want to have the New York Roadrunners organization pay almost $1 million for lost revenues that they don't get on tolls over their Verrazano Bridge, because that's where the race starts. Not to mention, the MTA gets an enormous amount of uptick that day, that weekend, in people flocking to the city from all over the world, taking the subways and taking the trains and doing everything else. So for that minor inconvenience, you're more than making up for it. And that's what Governor Hochul said. She said, stop yourselves. And I'm not a big fan of the Gov, but at least she stood up for this, because I am part of the New York Roadrunners Club, and I have run the New York City Marathon, and it's expensive already. When I did it, I paid $175 when I got lucky enough to get in. It's up to $350 now, and they want to keep upping it. And, that's not the intent that Fred LeBeau had for this when he founded the New York Marathon. It was supposed to be all-inclusive. People could do it. You don't want to make it where you price people out and they can't. And runners, this is what it's about. It's not, if you have money, you can run in it because we're going to make it $500 entry fee or $1,000. That's not right. People train really hard. They take it really serious. And it's supposed to be this unified. I don't know what Unified is. That's a new airline, actually, I took the other day. Unified. Unified Air. We'll get you there one way or the other. That's their motto. Anyway, it's just to really get everybody together. It's a nice event. I experienced it, and there's so many volunteers. And it's funny, the volunteers don't start screaming, "Pay us! Pay us for lost wages!" Only the MTA, in its brashness, with the crap late subways that they have, overcrowded subways, dangerous trains, outdated, obsolete cars that are still on these trains. If you go around to other states, other countries, the subway systems are unbelievable. Like, what are we doing? And they got some nerve to just ask for more. Maybe fix what you have and then ask for more, right? Only get what you deserve. That's the principles I live on. Anyway, let's see how we're doing here. Wow, it's at the 7 o'clock hour. Very good. Oh, that's fantastic. So we're doing okay. I will have my orange later. I should say this as my health segment. Have you at least one orange a day. The vitamin C from one of these is enormous. And vitamin C is one of the most important things you can have in your diet. It provides you with the right balance of energy. It provides you with the right balance for your skin, for your bones, that you need to sustain your bodily and circular functions. It's everything. It's the cornerstone of how we live. So you should always have an amount. It's our immunity, how we fight off things. Forget about your hand sanitizers and your masks. Have yourself an orange. It's been working for thousands of years before they had masks that are made out of paper mache that don't do anything at the end of the day anyway. I shouldn't say that. Don't let me be one of those. Just have an orange, okay? Oatmeal's very good too, before I go on. This is my little health segment. I might as well give some tips. Oatmeal, oranges. Pick one thing a day. People are into the season now of March and April where they want to start exercising. The weather's nice, right? I went for a bike ride. Now, when I was running throughout the winter, you didn't see a soul on the path. Now it's packed. People walking their dogs. And let me give another helpful tip. You might not want to pull your dog while you're running and think it wants to run. You're not doing a scene from Rocky. Okay, that was a highly trained dog that was told to run with Rocky. When you're pulling your little Shih Tzu across Sunrise Highway and you don't look behind you and you're actually strangling him and dragging him for miles because you think you're Sylvester Stallone and you got, Lady Gaga playing in your brains, or of course Taylor Swift, you might want to look behind and see if your dog is still alive. Okay? Okay. Stop dragging your dog all over Long Island. I hate to see that. Dog doesn't want to run. Okay? Unless you got a greyhound at home, stop it. Very annoyed. Very, very annoyed. Do you know they had an earth? There wasn't a lot. I mean, there's always little plate tectonic motion. They said 1884 there was an earthquake, a big one on Long Island, in the fives. So I mean, it wasn't that, whatever. Let me also, when I called out that gas station for charging for free air, but let me call a positive note. Let me give something positive. Try to do something nice. My mom's going to hate me telling this story. Tried to do something nice for my mom. She likes a cup of coffee. I was bringing her a cup of coffee. They didn't put the lid on. I don't want to say who, Dunkin' Donuts. So I put the coffee, I go to pick it up and it spills all over the car. Oh my God. It doesn't take a lot to put me over the edge. I'm already over the edge. So I'm just beside myself. I stay up all night. I'm like, oh, I got to get this. I just got to fix this. How do I fix? I'm going to go to the car wash next day, but And then, so I go to the Seaford car wash, and I tell the guy, and they do he calls over the other guy, and then they did an amazing job, and then they detailed even the outside because they noticed a couple of marks on by the left corner panel. They buffed it out. They did an amazing job, and so I want to give them kudos. And they even I had a competitor's coupon. I just pulled it up, and because it says they accept all. Go to the Seaford car wash. Tell them Funny Man Stevie K sent you. They are now another new, proud non-sponsor of the Steve Squared Show. So let's give them a shout out too. Very good there. Anyway, they should have played. There's a couple of songs. There's a lot of Eclipse songs, not just the. I know the famous one is "Total Eclipse of the Heart" by Bonnie Taylor, but I wrote it down. "Eclipse" by Pink Floyd is another. "Dark Side of the Moon" by Pink Floyd is another one, and actually Soundgarden has "Black Hole Sun." So there's some songs about "Shook Me All Night Long" would have been a great one, right? With AC/DC for the earthquake. Shook me all night. So it's a lot of songs out there that would fit the purpose. And all this build-up, right? Isn't there this letdown when it's over? It's like, you were looking forward to the eclipse and it's gone. It's all these things. But people are really craving for anything to unite with, and I guess this eclipse was one of them. And I guess the next thing will be the election. Oh gosh. I don't know if that'll be as a kumbaya's experience as the eclipse was. I don't think people will be holding hands singing all for one and one for all. But maybe there'll be another eclipse then. I'm kidding. I don't talk politics in the show. And July 4th is before that anyway. What's more unifying than hot dogs on the barbecue? Hot dogs on the grill, fireworks, and hot dogs, nitrates, and explosives are the next thing that joins us together as a people. Yes, there'll be our other days, but July 4th, well, there's Memorial Day, but let's get right to July 4th, right? You're going to have, that's where they have, right? Nitrates, hot dogs, explosives. We love that. And of course tanning. Let me not forget tanning. And flip-flops, of course. What else did I want to talk to you people about? Crazy. It was crazy. Animals would. I couldn't understand. It was a bird was sitting on the porch, and it was bringing in the groceries. The Stop and Shop bags were. Everything was confused. The animals were completely confused. They didn't know their role in nature. It was just confusing. Cardinals were acting like Blue Jays. Blue Jays were acting like Cardinals. It's too much. It's too much. What else do we have here? Is this anything important? No. Oh, look at this. Hey. I bet you didn't know this. Denim is coming back. Are you guys into the jean look? Denim is coming back. So everybody apparently is getting the denim look back. I like jeans. I'm big into denim. I can see that. I like jeans. Let me see. I don't know if this is anything. Wait a minute. This has got to be something here. No, I know this is something. I don't take things if they're not something. This doesn't look like anything. This is not what I was looking for. They also take advantage of people, which is annoying. Those people that were going to stay at hotels and book these hotels where their path of the eclipse was, were totally price gouging and charging people enormous amounts of money. And you could be, I joke, but you got the glasses, they were getting imitation fake glasses. I mean, it was just terrible. They do anything to get over on us, and it's just not right. Hey, there's a new oldest man, the Guinness Book of World Records. This guy right here. Can you see him? There he is, the oldest man alive. World's oldest man, John Alfred Tinniswood from England, is now the world's oldest man at 111. Good for him. 111. He's made it to 111. He was born in Liverpool, August 26, 1912. Days after the sinking of the Titanic. Wow. That is unbelievable. He said he owes his secret to luck and fish and chips. He has his special fish and chips once a week. And he says you don't want to have too much or too little of anything. He never smokes, rarely drinks. He vapes now and again. No, I'm just kidding. He follows no special diet apart from a fish and chip supper once a week. That's his one special cheat. He says if you drink too much or you eat too much or you walk too much, I don't know about that, if you do anything too much, you're going to suffer eventually. But ultimately, he said, it's pure luck. He said the world's oldest, the world's oldest woman, this is the world's oldest woman, and she's the world's oldest living person, is in Spain, 117. 117! Oh my gosh. She must get a huge senior citizen discount at Dunkin' Donuts. This was an act I was finally waiting to get repealed. I was glad I heard this on the state legislature. Let me see here. So they're repealing, if you can see the headlines here, the 1907 adultery law. It used to be back in the day, in 1907, if you committed adultery, which if you know your 10 Commandments, I believe is one of them. I have to brush up on the 10 Commandments. I got to watch the 10 Commandments again with Moses. And if you watch History of the World Part 1, there were 15, but he dropped one. He dropped 5. They're going to repeal the 1907 adultery law. I'm glad they're really working on things in Congress. So it'll make it now. You used to spend time in prison for cheating on your spouse. Boy, thank goodness they got rid of this. That's the last thing you want to be put in jail for, right? The jails would be filled of people that were on that were on Tinder. So it says here, I'm trying to see why they're doing this. It doesn't really say. But basically what they're doing is they're repealing it. You can't go to jail. So by all means, go crazy. Commit adultery. It's okay. It might not be acceptable for the 10 Commandments, but it's okay with Congress. So go cheat on your spouse. Enjoy. They finally repealed that. 1907. It took them 100 and, if my math is correct, 16 years? 17 years. 117 years. They really wanted to make sure that no one committed adultery. So, I agree. Let's see if we... oh, you know what? I must have... oh, no. Did I miss it? Oh, my gosh. Let's see here. I think I missed it. I think I did. Anyway. So... there'll be, so the game tonight is at 9 o'clock. Don't forget to tune into that. There was a couple of other interesting stories I wanted to share with you. There were actually, there was that big Powerball winner. There was actually a couple from Long Island. They were second prize, 3 second prize Powerball winners. This huge Powerball was almost $1 million. There's a couple from Long Island, 2 people from Long Island. They get $4 million. That's not bad, but nothing close to like what the winner gets. There was an interesting. I thought this was interesting. There was a good. I usually haven't seen one in a while, but there was a good Dear Amy, and I thought I'd like to share this with you. And because we talked about the marathon, and I'm a runner, I ran this weekend. This woman is complaining about her runner husband. And let's see. And this, I'm tying it all together because I'm sure this husband of hers that runs all the time. Here, let me get to it first. It says, a runner's wife now stuck solo parenting. So what's happening is, she says, my husband got really into running last year as part of a treatment plan for his depression. Oh, God. Well, he's depressed because he's married, and that's why he's running. So it really circles back, doesn't it? I fully supported this, but now he spends, they always fully support But it's always, I'm a good person, but I don't want him doing that. But now he spends 15 hours a week running or working out, and I am stuck solo parenting our kids. Both younger than 5. And she said, I do the morning, get kids ready, rush by myself, blah, blah, blah. I watch the kids, whatever. And then on a week, he ruins my weekends. All this on top of my full-time job. We used to split it. Now he's too busy with his training. He just wants to see how good he can be and blah, blah, blah. And wants to increase his mileage until eventually he runs so much he doesn't have to come back home. He could just keep running for the hills. But how do I tell him enough is enough when this is the only thing that's made him happy in the last 2 years? Well, I would hopefully that's not the only thing. I mean, he's got children, for God's sake. Doesn't that make him happy? Probably not. He is excited and passionate and looks forward to reaching long-term goals, like divorce or adultery, which he can now do on the consent of the Congress. This all ties together. This is perfect. I should write to let him know it's good to go. I don't want to take that away, but I can't do this forever. Signed, sick of being a runner's wife. Let me handle this. Everybody wants a spouse that's in shape, that looks good, feels good, but that takes time, and when they start putting that time in, then it's too much. What I would suggest is that she takes on, running, does her own thing, and then you leave the 3 kids at home and see what happens. Somebody's got to come home and take care of them. That'll show him. You go running yourself. She says you have to speak up and let him know, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, that's I see this happen as a trainer. I see this happen often, where couples, if they're both not able to find that, there's always that, who's going to watch the kids? This is a discussion you should have before you have kids. Before you have children. I'd like to do some running. Maybe we should hold off on the children until I run around the world. Or run 12 marathons. Perfect. It's hard to say, let's have children. You have your kids, and then you start going, I'd like to try to become an astronaut. Go to NASA. Will you watch the kids for the next 15 years while I pursue that goal? There has to be a balance. You want to continue to do the things that make you healthy and good state of mind, but I get it. People get addicted to, especially runners. I find runners are the most addictive personalities because it's never enough. They run and I talk to them all the time to pull it back and try other types of exercise, because runners just run and they clock their miles, they with all their fit app devices and fit tracking, and they want to know how many miles, personal best, and they can get really consumed with that. And what I did actually this past run, and usually I'm pretty tough on myself when I go for runs, but I tried to say, don't put a certain distance today, go enjoy your run, and then come back. But you see, for myself as a single guy who doesn't have any children running around, I can go running and run and run and run and run until I explode. That's what I can do. That's really all I can do, to tell you the truth. Anyway, but that was her gripe. That was her gripe. They were saying that there was a lot of events around Long Island where you could see this eclipse. There was they did it at the Vanderbilt Museum. They did it at Sunken Meadow Park. So they were trying a lot of Long Island areas to. I don't remember it ever being promoted this enormous. Again, we don't. I get it. They don't happen every day, but with the giant glasses being handed out everywhere and hotels and this whole giant. There was one a few years ago But I don't remember the real, like they were starting to cover it in the morning. They had it on Amber Alert signs. And I knew here it wouldn't be much because they said, it wasn't going to be. And those glasses actually bothered my eyes. I didn't like putting them on. I looked up for a second and I didn't see much. I don't know what I had to take them right off. It was bothering me. And I'll tell you, who's going to make out at the end of the day in all this? My mom said this. Optometrists. Optometrists are cashing in on this, baby, because of all the people. You think I was watching on TV? None of them were wearing glasses, or they didn't take them off at the right time, and the eye doctors now, starting tomorrow, are going to be filled. I think I'm blind. My eyes, I can't stop seeing spots. Did you look up at the sun? Yes. Why didn't you wear your glasses? I don't know. And that's what's going to be going on across America, or especially in Arkansas. I mean, please. Not to call out a state, but man, all they were so concerned with was they had this giant wedding. Everybody was getting married under the eclipse. What are you doing? That's so unacceptable. What a cheap way, first of all, to get out of paying for a wedding. Right? Oh, let's do it like this, honey. It'll be beautiful. Wink, wink, free. Right? They don't want to pay for some giant wedding at a catering hall with bad food. Do it on a lawn with 100,000 strangers. That's the way to get married. That's the way. Boy, I feel really let down. That's why I would have liked to have partaken, because people were so amazed. They were looking up and they were gazing and they were like, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. I didn't have much to gaze at. There wasn't much to see, but, we'll see. Maybe tomorrow. Is there another one tomorrow? No, there's not. I don't want to spread false rumors. That's it. This eclipse is over for the next 1,200 years. And I'm sure that guy that I just told you will still be alive. The world's oldest man. John Tinnisworth III with his fish and chips. I've been having a craving for fish and chips. I don't know why. You know me, I'm Mr. Healthy Eater. And I've just been thinking about when I was a kid, I used to like Arthur Treacher's fish and chips. Now, of course, that's, fast food. I would like, though, maybe like a real good fish and chips. Something like that. I don't know. I'm bored of always having the same thing, I'm just having one of these cravings, and that's like the third time in this week I've heard somebody talk about fish and chips. I'm like, thinking a lot about fish and chips. I used to like the Arthur Treachers. I was watching, actually they did it on maybe that's why, they were doing it on the History Channel, Food That Built America. And they had a new one. They had the Tootsie Roll. And they did do Arthur Treacher's fish and chips. And, that used to be a big thing. And they have gone the way of, I don't know if there's any left. See, these are the important trivia facts that we need Steve for. It's actually getting a little bit dark now. I wonder if we're having another eclipse, or if it's actually nighttime. I'm sorry. I thought, I got scared. I thought the eclipse was happening now. But it's supposed to be dark now. The animals are back to normal. No worries. Check your dog. They're back to bringing you your newspaper and slippers. They're not smoking the pipe. They're now giving it to the owner. I had seen, I'm telling you, dogs walking owners. It was crazy. Everything was backwards. And it was scary for those minutes that we had this eclipse. But maybe I'll watch The American Werewolf in London, right? There's all that look at the moon type of thing. But it is pretty amazing. And that's why you should always, when you're going to the beach and all times of the year, respect the sun and its power and force. Because the sun is a star that illuminates an enormous amount of energy and power. So understand what it is in our solar system. and its place and what it does to our planet. So I think it's interesting. It's look to the orange. Now, something about oranges. I'll tell you the good orange to get. It's a navel orange. This is just a simple navel orange. The code is the same across any market. 4013. 4013. Don't ask me why I know that. I do know that. Okay? That is, if you see 4013, you know Funny Man Stevie K said that is an acceptable orange. The Steve Square Show proudly endorses 4013 Navel Orange. Now, they come from two different areas. They can come from California. They can also come from South Africa, depending on seasonally and what they can get. Those are your best oranges. It actually also matches almost my shirt, which is, of course, Dumbbells, who is also another proud sponsor of the Steve Square Show. I'll tell you, I was supposed to have a call in today. It's 7:25. I don't think they're calling in. Let me see. I'm checking. Okay. They did message me back. They messed up. They said, I'm so sorry. I forgot to turn my clocks ahead. They still are on fall time. So they haven't, which you would think by now you would have probably turned your clocks ahead, right? It's been weeks, but I can understand. They're almost there. So anyway, no problems. And by the way, there's a couple of movies I wanted to recommend. I was interested in this, if you like an old movie, with Paul Newman. My mom always talks about this movie. It's one of her favorites. My mom and dad love this movie. Somebody Up There Likes Me. The Paul Newman movie with Piera Angeli and Sal Mineo, who was in Rebel Without a Cause. It's a great movie. It's the story of Rocky Graziano, the fighter, he's like a bum in the streets. You're a bum! And he becomes world heavyweight champ. And of course is Rocky Graziano. Now, I find it amazing that Sylvester Stallone named his character Rocky Balboa, Rocky, and nobody ever thought twice and said, well, is this based on one of the Rockies that were real? Because if you ask somebody now, they associate Rocky with Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa, not with the actual Rockies, who were two of them. Which were back in the 50s, Rocky Graziano, and of course Rocky Marciano. That would have been, you don't see that name a lot anymore, the name Rocky. People are not naming their kids Rocky anymore, which I find sad. So, if you're out there, maybe that Arkansas couple who got married under the eclipse will have a kid that they name Rocky. I can only hope. So, anyway. This is just another note in case anybody who runs CVS is watching. Please make your store safer. I have talked about CVS, and late at night, that store over there by the train station in Massapequa was such a dangerous area, and they need to clean that up. It's too dangerous to go into, and they always have young girls working in there by themselves, 10 o'clock at night, in charge of a full store of drugs. Great job. Do the math. I mean, come on. What? Doesn't anybody use their brain? Nobody. Oh, shout out. I don't have her name. Shoot. The woman in, did you hear about the story? The woman, she's a lunch aide, and she saved, we'll talk about it next time, but I forget which school district. She was a lunch aide, and she saved this little boy who was choking at lunch on a piece of pizza. She went right into action. She locked in on him, and she saw he was choking, gave him the Heimlich maneuver, which is something that they, I'm sure, have trained the aides, because if they're watching kids at lunch. And she saved the boy's life. He was able to, he couldn't breathe. She gave him the upward thrust, which you should always do. And I'll tell you right now, you always take you take the thumb hand, and it goes right into that breastbone, right? And then the other hand goes right over. So it's like a fist. And then you do an upward thrust from behind. And hopefully, with the power, so the hand, like that, and then an upward thrust, and hopefully it expels whatever's stuck in the passageway. But that was, look that up. It was an amazing story, and, So next time, kids, for all the kids watching the Steve Squared Show, that you're throwing spitballs at the lunch aide or giving her a hard time, I would be very careful, because she might not be so kind to you the next time you're choking on some bad macaroni and cheese. And, Lord knows the food that's given by the school system, it's hard to get down as it is. So, if not for the great, quick, fast action of the lunch aides, who knows where you people would be. So respect your lunch aides, please. Go over to them, give them a pat, tell them thank you. Thank you for watching. Because they do a good job and are definitely, I don't even know if they're paid, to tell you the truth, or if they are. They're not making Powerball money, I'll tell you that. Anyway, we are coming to that bewitching hour of 7:30. Great show. Thank you all so much for spending an hour with me. I appreciate it so much. Thanks to Kermit. I know how you all feel. We'll do our best. Maybe I'll replant and see if that works. And thank you to the good people of Arkansas for letting me make fun of them. And let's face it, all of Middle America, who are at the butt of all my jokes. And I want to thank my caller for not calling in. I appreciate that as well. I had booked that. You know who you are if you flipped on the show, which probably not, because you're still an hour behind. So you're flipping it on now when we're going off the air. Always wear those glasses except when you're driving. Be careful. Where am I? Yeah, so I won't have to see these anymore, all the people with these stupid glasses on. But you see, I have the Stars and Stripes one, so these are pretty cool. I like this. Anyway, have a wonderful, safe week. We will be in the studio. I hope you enjoyed our guest last week, Joshy K. How good was he? With the magic? Wasn't he wonderful? And if you want, I'm going to repost that show because we had a technical difficulty. Tony had a little, if you remember, had a little technical difficulty. So the last 20 minutes we didn't get in the original version. We've edited it, added it onto the original 40 minutes, and now it's a complete hour. Enjoy that. You can see the finish of that trick where he involved me, Steve, and Tony. It was an amazing trick. Check it out. We're going to continue to get really interesting guests for you guys because we think that's where the money is, or the success of the Steve Squared Show, as opposed to listening to me and Steve and Tony. You want to dial in on interesting guests, so we're going to try to get more of them for you, and as the weeks come forward into the spring and summer. So run, for all you runners out there, run. Just keep running. Don't look back. That's my advice. For myself, for Kermit, and for all the Eclipsers, thank you so much for spending a little time with the Steve Squared Show, and we'll see you next week in the studio, 6:30 Monday. Check out my Instagram, Stephen R. Kaminsky. Website, you can go to stephenkaminsky.com. Check out all my fun little tidbits for you to have. And have a wonderful week. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you soon.